Derivatives trading involves substantial risk of loss and is not suitable for all investors. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results.
So stressful. When the world's on fire. Good God. I can't look at this, guys. Like, my strategy is you buy it and you hope that you got a good spot. Yeah, but we all think you're crazy. You don't fight this. No way. The markets are freaking out and you don't think that anything is wrong? Come back tomorrow and I'll lose it all. Should be fun. Good morning, everybody. Today it's Friday. It was the 9th? 10th. It's the 10th and we got non-farms today. So let's just look at the overnight action. We did have a little bit of movement here. Is the volume profile. Yesterday, a little bit of a move up, continuation overnight, down, back up. We were in it somewhere around in here. I wish I had held that long. Oh, well. So, 10-year. We had, here was the pressure down after the jobless claims report. We moved down. I don't think it was because of the jobless claims report, but who knows? It was good, but it was mostly in line with expectations. But then we had the 30-year bond auction. Pretty good demand still on the long end of the curve, and that moved us back up. Excuse me. So we are sitting here on the inside today for non-farms. I think that the market is actually expecting these numbers to be pretty good. Let's come back over here. Open you guys up. And let's look up the numbers here for Forex Factory. So we are looking for an average hourly earnings month over month standard number spot 3% with a previous reading of spot 2. Non-farm employment change of 162,000 versus the previous month of 266, and an unemployment rate of 3.5. So some of the media outlets are kind of saying, hey, there might actually be some big surprises in there. Average hourly earnings might be good because, when was it? It was in October. In October, we got 0. And then we've got spot 2 since, and maybe it's backloaded. Maybe we will see that number come back. If we did, I would expect to see treasuries. If we got greater than spot 3, I mean, spot 3 is pretty good. If we got greater than spot 3, then these treasuries are going to dump. They're just going to dump. And saying, if we get like 200,000 instead of 162, I guess it's possible. I wouldn't necessarily expect that though. I can see, though, so far this morning, the treasuries are drifting slightly higher. So, that's where we are at. Non-farms, remember, always one of the biggest trading events of the month. Let's see here. What else we got going? Well, let me stuff my mouth here for a little bit. Let everybody get situated. Okay. Well, so far in the past 6 minutes, we've not even had 2,000 contracts go through in the 10-year. So pretty quiet. We'll pull out our E-mini. Maybe we'll take a trade here with this. Really, the more interesting trade is going to be over here. I think we would have to bust 27. Oh, they're actually selling into it. Oh, that's interesting. Okay, they stopped. Coming out of that inside bar, though, pretty hard. Pull up that 6J. Where did we open the day at? It goes negative at 27.5. Perfect. So we could do like, well, at 500 is too much. So we're going to say 127. I'm hoping the number is good. And I mean, in this case, I think that people are going to, there's going to be more people short going into the news. But because there's so much longer term pressure, and this particular number matters so much, I think that if we get a short, that it could run for a little bit. So that's my thinking with the short. It's already pulled too much. That's crazy. Freaking
Harlequin says him weird. Both gold and the Amini dropping before the news. Gonna be interesting.
well, the E-mini is rising a little bit. I think that number is going to be a spot 4. Ooh, it's going to be interesting. $30 seconds. Okay. Somebody's putting a little bit of a bid there. Okay, here we go. Okay, number was up. Let's see. Let us see. Okay, the number was 145 versus an expected 162. Ooh, and hourly earnings was spot 1 versus spot 3.
Uzi Knesset says 145K.
So that's definitely going to move them up. I don't know. So I think that the move over here and the treasuries is totally makes sense. I'm gonna let them calm down though and see if we can make any read after that, because I think that one moved too fast the other direction on us. The E-mini, I don't know. 145 versus 162 is not a huge deal. So I don't know if that justifies the E-mini just completely falling apart.
Harlequin says 164 by the way, not 162.
My estimate on Forex Factory was they were expecting 162. They're usually a little different, right? The different dashboards use slightly different numbers. I really like the Forex Factory number though. Oh, the unemployment rate didn't change at 3.5. I don't know. So I'm going to be
Harlequin says,
interested.
okay, was using investing.
Yeah, gotcha. Yeah. You guys like that investing.com calendar, don't you? You know, the Jigsaw calendar is really good too, but I always forget about it. You know why though? Because they just, you know what, Pete, if you were listening, it's not, here it is right here. If it would like took up the whole page and I don't know, there's some problems with the Journalytics dashboard because of that. Fix that, then I'll use it. Would be an easy fix. So let's keep an eye on Twitter here. I'm going to be interested to see what they say about the internals of this number. You can see here, though, look, that the equities are actually trading a little bit higher now. NBC News exclusive. Bloomberg
Uzi
plans.
Knesset says Dow wants at 29K.
Bloomberg plans to fund a sizable presidential campaign effort through November, even if he loses the Democratic nomination, campaign officials tell NBC News as part of effort to defeat President Trump. Well, man, I don't think that that's going to help Bloomberg. In fact, you know what? If you do not want Donald Trump to be reelected, I would go and tell Michael Bloomberg to just shut
says, Yo,
up.
Bloomberg equals Dr. Cocteau from Demolition Man lol.
Right? I need to watch that movie. My wife has never seen that movie. I was referencing it the other day. She's like, "What are you talking about?" So I was talking about how back in the 80s, Taco Bell was it. My gosh,
Uzi
guys.
Knesset says 100%.
She brought home Taco Bell the other day, and there was a quesadilla that was left over, and they put it in the fridge. And I'm like, oh, hey, there's a quesadilla.
Says, yeah, and today you can make 100K as a Taco Bell manager, lol.
And then I remembered that, oh, actually, it's not a quesadilla. It's a tortilla with a Kraft single in the middle of it. Man, Taco Bell is gross. Some of the things they make at Taco Bell are gross now. Before I, before I was aware of life, apparently Taco Bell was really good before they got bought out by Pepsi. I remember Peter Lynch talks about that in his book, about how Taco Bell was great, and then they got bought out by Pepsi, and you couldn't make money off of their stock anymore. 2284. I'm not reading.
Harlequin says, just out of curiosity, FBI, if you are listening, please don't ban me from entering USA. Has there been an assassination attempt on an American president after Kennedy?
Yes, there was. Yeah, listen, FBI. Harlequin from Germany. He's a nice guy. And he's asking a genuine question here. Has there been an assassination attempt on an American president after Kennedy? There certainly has been. Ronald Reagan was shot. Ronald Reagan was I think that they actually shot him, if I recall correctly. And there was a big thing about it, but he didn't die. And there have been assassination attempts on Donald Trump, but they did not get very far. For instance, there was that guy. I don't know if you guys remember this, but remember there was a guy that was gonna do a bombing or something like that. My camera got moved. I don't know what happened. Oh gosh, that's not what we want. Oh well, whatever. Okay, well they're starting to turn down. I think I could maybe try and take one here. All right. Do I see? Well, okay, it's forming an inside bar, I guess. that to me, this spike down here to me looks like sell side exhaustion. Like they sold it, but they decided that it wasn't the biggest deal in the world and everybody closed. So now that we've come back up and we're here, we could range around a little bit, but
Uzi
then
Knesset says I notice the MES doesn't have those large orders trailing on either side of the market anymore.
oh yeah, you get like those really big ones. Sometimes they'll still show up. But you know what though? I think that if I was sitting around with 100 contracts on the MES, I
Harlequin
would
says by
just
the
go
way
trade
huge
10
absorption on
on the
84
ES.
in the Amini. 1130 contracts traded and they could not take the offer and get to bid.
Yeah. Oh, you know, I didn't see the absorption, but I did see that they kind of failed there in turn. The thing is look, when we got up there at the top, and the level 2 activity completely died. So I took it because of that. I only got an inside bar on the ES, so that doesn't confirm it for me. So
Harlequin
it's a
says do
little
you have a
tepid.
footprint? You can see it there.
Maybe I'll pull up a footprint of it later then. Well, it's coming down pretty good now. Let's see if they go for this 79. You know, we catching almost 10, and it's usually where we have a hard time getting it to go more, right? I think 84 is fine though. I'm happy with my risk. Retail added 41K jobs, more than 4 times the 9K jobs it added for the entire year. Tough to see that holding up. Oh yeah, that is not going to stay. Interesting. Ooh, Paul Krugman actually posting something insightful. Dean looks at GDP per capita, but Japan's aging population means that you really want to look at GDP per working age adult, and by that measure, Japan's growth has been essentially the same as America's. That, I think, is useful information. That might change my view on a couple of things. There's some absorption there at 129 in the 10-year. Let's zoom this in a little bit, shall we? Yeah. I don't know, guys. I see some potential for downside in the E-mini, but they did not come down as low on that swing down. Maybe they'll pop up a little bit and come back to my price and then turn down. Or maybe they'll just turn down right here, right now. But you'll see. Donald Trump on the tweet. We came to an agreement that will finally secure pensions and health care for our coal miners and their families. I look forward to voting for this crucial bill later this week and sending it to the president so he can sign it into law. Senator Joe Manchin. And Donald Trump says, we will get this done for our great miners. Oh, he's been tweeting a bit this morning, hasn't he? Okay. Maybe the sellers are going to test downside
Winstanza
now.
Mom says good morning. Speculator Seth
Hey,
good
how
morning.
have you been?
Gentlemen of day trading.
It's been a few days, hasn't it? Okay, well, the treasury's not quite holding 129 even here. I think these prices Treasuries all seem to be reasonable. I think though that I mean even these prices in the E-mini I wouldn't say are like insane, but I think that the sellers will probably want to test the bottom side of this.
Winstanzamom says I have observed a bit here and there, but my himself returned from his travels and I have a bit less online time.
Makes sense. Makes sense. My himself. That's funny. See if they tried testing this downside, then there could be a little bit of chaos, and that's why I feel like that. Especially since the news was bad, and then the cumulative difference was that we ended up with more longs after that. I think that those longs are just going to have to slowly give it up. It's kind of an interesting how that came off. Payrolls tumble by 111K as earnings growth slumps. Yeah, and the hourly earnings being spot one is very concerning. That really solidifies in my mind that the Federal Reserve has no reason to raise interest rates this year because there is zero. We're just not getting the inflation.
Ace Trades says morning.
Hey, Ace, how are you? I think we have a good short setup here, but we shall see.
Winstanzamom says 19 watching now. Please hit like. He did not play my Foz and Eiza, but he did pay for his travel. He plays blackjack and reported the casinos are full of traveling Asians who love to play and smoke inside.
Okay, so they broke down through 2280. Okay. It's pretty slow though. There's going to be a lot of longs here that are just I think that they're just kind of clinging on to it, but it looks like a lot of them got washed out there when we broke through 28. So to get a whole lot more. I mean, I don't know. I think if we break 79, well, there it is right there. Okay, yeah. We will get a little bit of volatility, but yeah, okay, somebody's fighting back. Curious. It's a good inside bar break to the downside though. But that's kind of what I was thinking, like the cumulative delta has equalized now.
Winstanzamom says good morning, Ace Trades. I should report today as a full moon since Ace is in our house. I wonder what your moon sign could be, Ace of Dancing. What house is your house of fun and games, i.e. dancing?
What kind of dancing? Mormons don't but dance. Actually, no, Mormons do dance. In Utah. I mean, I don't think the Ace is practicing LDS, but in Utah, we're known for the dancing. So I got 20. They're going to test that 79 again now? There's going to be some resistance there? See, for me to get much more now, I originally was hoping for these longs to get stopped out. I think that they did.
Ace
so now
Trade
for
says
this
that
to continue.
Winstanzamom was just looking at it. Beautiful.
Now for this to continue, I think that we would need to get some new shorts in here, right? Although I think that
Winstanzamom says the fifth house is your house of fun and games. Utah dances? We took square dancing in 6th grade. I think everyone should take square dancing. What are Mormon dance styles?
My understanding is that they've always just done the same kind of dancing that the rest of the country does. But like back in the 50s, we had like the largest dance floor in the country at the Saltaire until that, broke down and they tore it down. I remember seeing that before they tore it down. I thought it was so beautiful, and then they rebuilt this thing they call the Saltaire. That
Gary Rich says, "Good morning,
ugly.
TikTards."
TikTards. I like it. I like it. It's not quite as good as quote Colt,
Winstanza
but
Mom says there is an old Russian folk tale that with the waxing moon, you show her silver coins and she will bring you prosperity once she understands your request.
But you know what? So because remember I said yesterday, I'll post on Facebook or something, and maybe we can make a poll or something. But then I went over there and I was like, well, I don't know if we really have enough people to do that. But I remembered that, hey, we have a much more important thing to deal with, and that is, what are we going to name my firstborn child? and it has to be more than one syllable. That's the only qualifier we've got here. So we can't name her John. I know that you would all like to name her John, or him John rather. All right, coming back up. I don't know. I think that there will be some resistance here at 80.
Winstanza Mom says, "TikTards, they call us intuitards in my Jungian community. Lol intuitards. Names, we are playing the name game. Fun."
The name game.
Winstanza Mom says, "I wanted to name my son Chase Alexander, but my husband said they would. We settled on Eric and use his grandfather's name."
Okay.
Winstanza Mom says, "Middle name. We use family names and no one objects."
Chase Alexander. She wants to use Alexander. She is all in on Alexander. I'm thinking that she is so enamored with Alexander that she is not considering other names. I don't know if that's actually true, but she would probably not see it that way, but that's the way I feel.
Ace Trade says, "Short if it comes back to 3280.00.
Okay, that's interesting.
Gary Rich says, "Seth, why is the date off on the title of your video?" Thumbs down.
Thank you.
Winstanza Mom says, "Alexander is a wonderful name. King, wise, smart, and it shortens well."
I forgot to fix. I need to fix Monday's video too. It's the wrong day. So Treasury's coming back. VWAP. 28.5 was the where they took the trade. This is interesting, because the cumulative delta in the 10-year has not come back. This is a little intense.
Winstanza Mom says, "Will anyone watch football this weekend, the playoffs?"
I haven't watched the NFL for a while. still mad at them. So back into the inside bar. I think that I have to take this off, no? I really should have taken a profit before now, I'm thinking, but I don't know. I need a better plan for my exits, guys. I'm still bearish. I don't know. I have to say that particular move up is not looking too strong.
Gary Rich says those poor misinformed crude traders got toasted, going long.
Oh,
Rip.
man, really? What happened?
Ace Trade says at Winstanzamom probably catch some of it. Who is your team?
Well, you know,
Lucas
we got
says
the
I swear I
Broncos.
thought you were short. Lucas says morning.
Yeah, so there's a person on Facebook, and I don't really know who they are, but they added me to like a little group or a Facebook page that they created to be their trading journal, and they did not catch the reversal in crude correctly. I think might need to change my thing up. No, it's good. Yeah, they didn't catch the reversal correctly yesterday, so they just stayed short and got decimated when it came back up. And they've been doing combines. So that was like the 20th combine that I think I've seen them start, and they blew out their first combine. So within 10 days.
Says I will support the Titans since that's my state's team. I am a longtime Bucks fan because we lived there. This year, no one caught my interest, but I love the playoffs.
Yeah,
Lucas says that sounds bad.
Well, you know, you have to wonder, like, with Rich, you know, would you be able to consistently hit the combine parameters? Because you can do it in crude, but I really feel like that it encourages them to trade with too much risk. And just the fact that they're doing crude is like, yeah, not surprised. But I think it's a girl trying really hard.
Winstanzamom says Ace, your team, if you have one as who?
Okay.
IQ says I am rooting for the Packers.
So the treasury's there. I'm not surprised that they got dumped there below 27. Because there was still too many longs trying to hold on. I don't know if what just happened there causes overextension. I am seeing icebergs down here at the bottom. It does appear to me that there are some larger players now trying to absorb and buy the treasuries. The E-mini has now come back to balance, essentially. Really quieted down.
Winstanzamom says the Packers, Brett Favre was my quarterback. I just love to watch him play. Lucas says this reversal negates my read of the markets right now.
Yeah.
I don't know what is going to do from now on, hope it doesn't die. Ace Trade says at Winstanzamom old school Packers fan. But you have to admire other teams as well. Used to know kids who played for a few teams, like the Giants.
My take right now is that we had a really big impulse, especially in the treasuries. Up, they
Gary
had
Rich
to
says 49ers gonna send the Vikings home to the mini storm. Brr.
They had to take profits, and there was too many of them.
Ace
So
Trade
we
says I
ended
saw
lower.
3,280 as a long, but it went against the trend. But look at it go.
Now,
Winstanzamom says we lived in Cheval where all sorts of the Bucks lived. On the day after the game, I would watch Hardy Nickerson barely able to move, walk up and down the street. Nice man.
No. So, hold on a second. So my read here is there was a really big impulse in the treasuries up. There were too many longs. They all dumped, and that's what pushed price lower below the news price. So I would not take that as a fundamental read. That was just trading. So it's entirely possible to see them, overextend down here on the bottom and then move back up. there could be something about the numbers that I'm not seeing, but it could also just be that the larger players are biding their time, and by the time we all give up on it, then they will come back in and buy it up. But that said, I felt like that there was a few too many longs on that. Not sure if it reversed because of profit taking. Well, yeah. I mean, the reason I say that is look at the cumulative delta, right? They bought it all the way up. It's flat all the way through here. And then finally, when they pushed through the news price, then they dumped. Then they gave up on the long. Okay. Ace is looking at 81.50 short. Let me turn the reader back on. I'm just saying, don't. I wouldn't, because it went up and down, I wouldn't sit down and say, okay, now my bias for the day is down in treasuries. Let's let it, it's still not done. Because when you get those sorts of things, what you should expect to see is this. And then maybe they'll go down again, or maybe they'll go up again, or maybe they'll find balance somewhere in here. So it's not over yet.
Ace Trade says let's hope for at least a point.
Yeah.
Lucas says maybe it's true, not enough buyers to support initial bias, they reversed and no one else was interested in keeping it higher.
Sure. And I mean, sometimes the big funds will mess with them, right? Like if that was all traders, it comes up and then the funds say, well, we still want to buy it down here. Let them come all the way back and then they buy it. Or maybe they say that they're already hedged or something. I don't know. You know, maybe they won't come in. I remember this happening to me many times though. It's been a while, and it was before I was trading this, but I can remember some days where like really big news like non-farms would come out and it was like a really bad number. And then or like it was a really good number. I remember specifically one time it was a really
Lucas
good
says
number.
We should have been short, lol.
I remember one time specifically it was a really good number, and the treasuries actually bought up almost 15K. Almost 15K.
Ace Trade says out. My mojo isn't working.
And I was so frustrated and I gave up on it. And then after I gave up on it, the big boys came in and sold it down hardcore. And when they sold it down, they moved it like 16, 20 ticks. And I was so pissed because I thought at the time, and I think probably that analysis was still correct, that they basically bought it up so that they could reverse and sell it. They can do that sort of a thing, you know? So don't rule out the possibility of them playing some games with us here with the valuation of this. I don't know if the number was a significant.
Gary Rich says maybe I'll find the glass slipper. Maybe my prince will sweep me off my feet. Maybe or maybe not.
Well, in the equities, they don't look like they're too interested in trading it at the moment, do they? Ace, maybe it was just timing.
Ace Trade says, or maybe it was just timing.
I think that I think they had a good trade. The spot's okay. The pressure does seem to be down. It's just the volume's not coming in at the moment. And there's a downtick through your price again. I'm interested to see if they move down. If this
Ace Trade says in short at 3,281.753 tick stop, leaving to make breakfast. Fingers crossed.
Okay. God, this is gonna be interesting.
Lucas says I'm used to watch
Stop.
you joining the trend. What changed, Seth?
Stop. Well, when I went short, it was the trend, though. That's the
Gary Rich
thing.
says the real float upwards on the NFP was the European session. They seem to always know before the know. Winstanza Mom says Ace, have those giants gone to any class reunions? I would
Hmm.
think that would be a blast hearing their stories.
This is really a case of me holding something too long, I think, and me being stubborn. They're gonna come after my stop, and then they'll go down. Hmm. It's difficult. Um, they're still like they're still in green territory. I do have a couple of things working against me. Looks like there was Ace's stop.
Winstanza Mom says I like Coke floats. And now I want ice cream. Winstanza Mom says root beer floats are even better. Lucas says yeah, I know those trades. Those are the ones where don't matter where you take the loss, it will always be at the reversal point. Lucas says it messes with you.
Yeah. It doesn't matter where you take the loss, it will always be at the reversal point. Yeah. That certainly happens, doesn't it? But that is one of the things that I like my histograms so much, because they show you the overextensions very clearly, where everybody took a trade, and it helps you to wait until after everybody has been screwed over, where you can actually take a good risk reward position. The unfortunate thing about it is that usually ends up putting you in counter trend. But when you get one that's in line with the trend, it can be so amazing. Okay, well, the treasury's bought up there. Mm-mm. We are getting a little down again.
Lucas says it happened to me this Wednesday, but over news, it just spiked, hit my emergency stop loss, and
Yeah.
went right back to my entry. I raged quit and traded sim next day face with tears of joy.
Yeah. I really do think that the robots can come after you.
Gary Rich says you gotta outthink what the participants are going to do.
Yeah.
Anticipation, instinct, with enough time, being a student of price charts is key.
Like looking at these deltas here. So look at this. The total change in orders during any 1 minute period, in terms of the number of limit orders out there, is like a few dozen. So that means that if it's a slow market, even one human trader would be a worthwhile target. That also tells me that the vast majority of the orders that we see out there are the robots. So yeah, I totally think that there are some situations where, you know, maybe 5 retail traders all go one direction, and the robots say, okay, well, average stop is 4 ticks. They move it up to the stop.
Mom says US reports 145k jobs added.
Yep. 145, and then it was spot one on the hourly earnings. Alligator saying we're leaning on ranging this morning. We're to the time period where we might start to see the E-minis start to move a little bit, but it's so far not doing anything. Larry Kudlow to speak on today's show at 9:30 New York time.
Winstanza Mom says Fed calendar today. 9:45 a.m. CP, commercial paper 4:15 p.m. H.15 selected interest rates 4:15 p.m. H.8 assets and liabilities of commercial banks in the U.S. Gary Rich says C Delta can mask or disguise the real intentions. Just like volume can fool one into a bad trade. Winstanza Mom says hopefully minus the mimosa.
I feel like it's more reliable during the big moves though, right? Like they're in the 10-year. That is the most clear read on Delta and people getting stopped out that I think I've ever seen. They were up. Delta was flat even though they were losing. And then the Delta finally all came out when they moved below the low price. They all got stopped out. Clear as day. You can 100% see what happened in the cumulative Delta there. And you could have potentially have taken it short anywhere through here on the expectation that they're going to get stopped out. It was a pretty speculative trade, but it would have worked. But during slow times, the cumulative Delta can definitely be deceptive, right? And so can the level 2. Like, we can get an overextension in the level 2 and then find out, and then just find more people come into the market. Then it not matter. Always an exception to everything, I guess. Well, we're pretty like stuck in a range here. I'd like to see them below 32.8150.
Winstanza Mom says tracked, you would see a pattern. Winstanza Mom says odd question for when you have a second. Can you correlate energy frequency vibration to the candlesticks, which is energy, which is vibration, and which bar would be frequency? Perhaps if that is
tracked, you would see a pattern. Well, I mean, here's the thing with that sort of thing, when probably just about any kind of analysis that you do like that, you will find a pattern. Because we as humans want to find patterns, even if it's not really a thing. But the question that you've got to ask yourself is, does that pattern lead to a profitable trading strategy?
We are all speculating. We don't have those models or institutional order flow which the real big boy firms have.
Yeah, they
Winstanza Mom says heuristic bias.
Yeah. So we'll see all sorts of stuff and think, oh, it's the market definitely reacts to that. But then when you try trading it, you find out that you can't make money on it. It's usually what happens. Yeah, well, and I wonder, because of the quality, the data for retail, I wonder, and this was information that I would have been able to find out when I was at Goldman, but now I don't know. But what is the difference in the feeds that they have? Can they see people? Can they see who some sort of a user ID attached to every order? Can they actually like track me? Because if they can actually see who is who and track you, that is so not fair. I don't think that they can, but if they can, that is not fair. They can see who we are, but we can't see that the person you're trading against is Goldman. That is so shady, you know? I'm just speculating. I don't think that that's the case. Anyways, we have to like reconstruct the tape and everything like that. Is their data good enough in a way? Like, do they get exchange timestamps, for instance? Do their orders have exchange timestamps attached to them so that they don't have to reconstruct the tape?
Winstanza Mom says it's the Tesla numbers that I would like to tie into energy frequency vibration, so perhaps the 3 is energy, the 6 is frequency, and the 9 would be vibration. Look at the music of the chart.
I don't know. Tesla is, man, I mean, I don't keep track of stocks, but I did look at Tesla, and knowing absolutely nothing about the company and the fundamentals going behind it and everything, I thought that the move up that they had in Tesla was way overdone and crazy. And if I was an investor and I really wanted to get into Tesla, I would be waiting, because that just looks to me like a huge trap. But I'm also looking at the perspective of, I remember 6 months
Gary
ago,
Rich
everybody
says,
thought they
"Remember
were
this.
finished.
We have a latency due to our distance from the exchange. Us retail cannot get the high-speed data due to our internet providers. It's the way, and we deal with that lag."
Yeah.
Lucas says, I don't trust Elon.
The lag doesn't bother me so much, because the lag for me is going to be, at worst 200 milliseconds, which is about equal to my reaction time
Winstanza
anyways.
Mom says no, not the Tesla company, the inventor Tesla.
So, and unless I was trading with robots, I don't think that the latency would make a big difference. I really think all of this stuff about latency was all a bunch of hoopla that really has more to do with the large institutions than anything. The large institutions want to be able to buy up large blocks of stocks without anybody noticing. And they've basically been putting propaganda out there in the public to try and convince everybody that they need to be able to do that. They're tricking us, like the small exchange, or that one where they had, a mile of fiber optic cable coiled up so that everybody had lower latency. That wasn't for you, man. They didn't make that exchange for you.
Gary
You know
Rich
who they
says
made that
you will never
exchange
beat
for?
The algos. You or I are not Rain Man.
Yeah. You know who they made that exchange for? Goldman Sachs. And I know that because I helped write the software to connect to the exchange when they were making it. And Goldman were the biggest supporters of it. And why? Because it allows them to buy a huge segment of stock before anybody notices what's going on. But for us in futures, I don't think that the 100 milliseconds latency matters. And you're not going to beat the algos. Nope. You're not faster than them. Which means that you have to play a different game. Okay, the treasuries have recovered and are now back above the news price. The news price being roughly 29.5. So the treasuries are recovering and moving back up. I can see right here. Okay, so this is interesting, and this is the first time I've ever seen this, but it's what I was hoping to see. In this histogram right here, I can see an increase in orders. Some people stacked down in this area right here, and that's about where it turned. So that's all cool. But the equities just continue to range here. They did break an inside bar to the downside by a tick at 2281. We'll see if they push further and give us enough room to hold this through the open.
Ace Trades says sure, now drop.
Right. I mean, it's still at your price, technically.
Gary Rich says good for them. Remember, you are not them, and you have to realize this.
Yeah.
Who cares if they front run? They've been front running forever. It's the game with no or limited rules.
Yeah. Well, and I guess that's where I'm like, there are some people out there trying to like take 2 ticks in the E-mini and stuff like that. And like, I know that the e-mini moves around enough that you can do that sort of a thing, but I'm really skeptical about the long-term viability of a strategy like that, because you're really trying to play the algos game. But hey, if you can take like equal risk reward and get like an 80% win rate, then more power to you. But I see a lot of people trying to take 2 ticks with like a 16 tick stop, and that's just dumb. And I'm not talking just about one person. Like I've seen a couple of people in groups doing that sort of a thing, taking super tiny profits in an instrument where you have to have pretty wide risk to not get stopped out every time. In treasuries, you can 2 for 2, can totally work. But yes, I think that you've got to be taking at least 2 points. Otherwise, your stop won't be big enough to give you a favorable probability. Could be wrong though. There could be some setup that's really good and tends to run. Certainly, if you were using automated entries. Back up to 82, but you notice that when they're at the top here, that it dies down.
Gary Rich says if you practice enough, you can do it. Desire not to fail is a great incentive to be the best at what you can do. Play to your strengths, not others.
I don't know. Isn't everything that I've read about like the mental game is that if you're focused on trying to not fail, that it almost forces your brain into doing the thing that you don't want to do. And so it's better for you to focus on the thing that you do want to do. Okay, treasuries bid at 30. Are they going to take 30 half already? I don't know about that one. I'm not seeing a dump. I caught the move that I wanted, and I didn't take profits on it. I thought that there'd be a pullback and then a further continuation. And instead, they pull back to my price and then just go dead.
Winstanza Mom says that's the idea behind the law of attraction, and the idea behind positive psychology, and the idea behind the mudras the yoga types meditate to. Flow state.
Yeah.
Winstanza Mom says a perfect balance of nature and nurture.
I think in trading it's more you've got to avoid like the anxiety kind of chemicals. Or if you do, you have to resist the urge to act on them. That's what I think kills me. Okay, they're testing upwards again.
Winstanza Mom says you are describing Freud's theory of the ego and the id as the rider on his horse. We can ask the horse to drink some water, but we can't make him drink. The idea with individuation is teaching horse.
I remember watching I don't know, it was like a Dateline NBC kind of show or something like that, and they were tracking athletes, and they found that some people, when they would like put money on the line or
Winstanza
something
Mom
like
says
that.
Carl Jung used an iceberg. Our ego is above the surface, but what lies below is deep, dark, and dangerous. Gary Rich says I personally don't know
Yeah,
how to fix someone's mental or emotional state for trading. My way took time and I'd scare you how I did it.
yeah. It just take a long time and beat yourself up enough until you figure it out. And that's what I've heard from a lot of people. But I watched this thing, and they were with athletes, and they were measuring their stress response, and then they would do something to put stakes on it, like put money on the line. And some people, most people, in fact, um, would get nervous, and it would completely destroy their performance. But there was a few people that, for some reason, that incentive just helped them focus more, and they did even better. And those were your clutch players. And it's like in trading, it's like you've got to be clutch all the time. And how do you develop a clutch personality? I don't know. I don't know. I think the only thing that helps for me, and I don't even know if it helps because sometimes it can be really bad for you, is that I'm really stubborn. I want to hold things. I want to let them run. And I usually let them run too far or too long and have it come back on me. Pompeo, U.S. Treasury Mnuchin to hold news briefing at 10:45 at the White House. Well, the context that I'm seeing here is not favorable for trade. Wish I had gotten my 20.
Gary Rich says I feel my military time really prepped me for this career or job. We got beaten hard mentally and physically. We began to enjoy pain and suffering. Winstanza Mom says if you look at the cognitive functions, then Tom Brady is an ESTP. Extroverted sensing plus accuracy of thought. His frontal cortex fires fast.
While having a fast firing frontal cortex, that's the opposite of me, and it would be useful for trading. It is the 10th day of the new year.
Winstanza Mom says Gary Rich, what was your MOS or AFSC job identifier?
I'm wondering, like the trend in the E-mini is all green. Is it the case that the trend is just stronger than the news? That's what it's looking like. But I think that now is time to just be out, let Larry talk and all this other stuff, and then maybe we'll move. And there's probably going to be some volatility when it happens, and I'm going to need to just resist the urge to click.
Winstanza Mom says you appear to lead with T-Seth, introverted thinking, but you tested INTJ, so that is introverted intuition first, pattern recognition. I think you are NTP.
NTP, which is...
Gary Rich says Navy, battlefield medic, pharmacy, psych, and trained with bad people who do things which are dark.
Yeah. Interesting. I knew a guy, I don't know, you said psych, but that reminds me of a guy that I knew on a forum that when he was in the military, he was in PsyOps. So, afterwards he ended up doing, like media kind of stuff, but he sure was smart.
Winstanza Mom says dark is in Delta Dark? Black Ops Dark? Uzi Knesset says my MOS was boring. Air defense lol.
Wait, were you in the Air Force? I think it's going to be fun in a few years to see retired servicemen
Gary
that were
Rich
in the
says I've
Space
been
Force.
waterboard, which was training, drown proofing, and lots of other cool
Oh,
twisted
yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
Uzi Knesset says Army.
Oh, it was Army. Hmm. I mean, if we get below a like 3280, probably. I mean, and that's being generous with it. You could probably take it before that.
Ace
Then
Trade
maybe I
says I
could
get
take it short.
waterboarded every other day in the market.
But when the open happens, I feel like it doesn't matter anymore, right? And since Larry's going to be speaking, I think that's what happened to me was they traded off the market. I got the trade right. I should have taken my 16 ticks. And then there was no reason for them to
Winstanza
trade
says
it
air
again.
defense. I worked in air defense at Langley for a few years. The Tom Clancy years. I worked with the Army at MacDill when I was at SOCOM. Did you know Admiral Lemoyne?
I wonder what else we got.
Ace Trade says Ironsides Lemoyne? I worked with him on some stuff that wasn't exactly official. Winstanza Mom says Gary Rich, did you eat the bunny during survival training? I was flight crew survival training, so no bunny for me, good thing.
We need to watch this in the evening too.
Winstanza Mom says Ace Trades, I do not know the nickname Ironsides, but I was there with Admiral Lemoyne as he faced his final battle with melanoma. Ross Perot flew him to the best experts available.
I'm gonna do two ways. I'm gonna do one is gonna be let's make the first one be only offers, and the second one
Gary
only
Rich
be
says early on
bids.
we made fun of the Army. But after the Iraq-Afghan invasion I have a renewed respect for the Army. I still root for Navy to beat Army in football. Ace Trade says at Winstanza Mom, oh dear. I just made that up. Poor guy, sounds like he was impressive.
Huh. Okay, here's the open. Sorry, I'm like covering it up. I want the total here. No, the difference. White. Difference. White. Okay. Well, the first impulse is a sell. Right to where I was saying maybe you get in.
Winstanza Mom says, oh, Ace, he would have enjoyed the name. No worries, Gary Rich my family were officers in Army but I was female and going in as enlisted. The chair force offered ladies more opportunities. Gary Rich says that's okay Seth. I can't see your screen, I'm Asian with slanted eyes and get blinded by dental floss.
It's kind of funny. A lot of the people that I've been speaking to in the trading world over the past week or so are all Asian. I was like, oh, there's a lot more Asians in trading than I thought. Okay, this needs to be a bar, not a line. Okay.
Winstanza Mom says dental floss makes great sewing thread for hard-duty sewing. Old green beret trick. Okay. Also fill your fruit with liquor so the squad leader doesn't know. Lol.
So I would have gotten it again. That's funny. No, we're gonna sit it out. It's painful to watch, though. Oh, man. Oh, guys. Whoops. Well, it was a good red bar to start things off. I don't know where the day goes. Anyone else experience
some lag with the screen?
There might, you might, because I brought things up and everything, there might have been some missed frames, and sometimes that causes buffering on your end.
Winstanza Mom says, is anyone paying attention to the WH drama? This episode concerns me. It's not over yet.
not entirely sure what you're talking about. Here's Ellen.
Lucas says all the time, it's just constant.
I would just
Winstanza Mom says no,
refresh.
Ace, and my Wi-Fi is a bit lowish.
I would, if you feel like the screen is delayed, then refresh the page, then get it to rebuffer. I don't know. At some point, I'm gonna buy a new video card, and that should hopefully fix it. But I think that having the new encoder on the 1660 Ti would fix the problem. But oh man, oh, it hurts.
Lucas says get a 1660 Ti.
Yep, that's what I want.
Lucas says, well, there you go.
Yeah. As I have a 1060 Ti. So in order for me to get equal performance, it would have to be a 1660 Ti. 1660 Ti is about 300 right now. I bought this card for 200. So, yeah.
Winstanza Mom says, what is a 1660 Ti?
It's a video card. So there's a new architecture that NVIDIA is using.
Lucas says I'd wait for next NVIDIA gen. It's supposed to be out this year.
Yeah, and that's kind of my thinking. The new architecture, they changed the way that calculations are done, and they created a separate
Ace Trade
chip
says
for
I
encoding.
probably need a new router.
Ooh.
Gary Rich says Seth just borrow one from work.
Anyways, they have a separate chip on it just for encoding, and the chip not only is the encoding that it does look better, but it's more performant, and so I can essentially stream to you guys for no cost to my video card, because what will happen is I will just get a spike, and I don't know if it's because my video card is old or if, you know, NinjaTrader is taking a lot of processing power.
Lucas says they are claiming 50% performance increase. We'll have to wait and see, but if those numbers are true.
Yeah. Well, I actually think that it might be a significant increase over the 20 series card, because the 20 series card, it wasn't a very big increase over the previous ones. So if they take the all of the improvements that they made on the 20 series and they actually go full bore with the performance that they, clock speeds and stuff, and then on top of that they have 6 nanometer process, yeah, it totally could be 50%.
Gary Rich says, have you seen the new stuff coming out of CES? I'm excited.
They're still not negative on the day, by the way.
Winstanza Mom says, actually, Gary Rich, not a bad idea. Run it by the office manager and explain you are working on new system engineering and have an idea. That should allow you to borrow an upgraded card for a while. Lucas says, I thought it was 7 nanometers.
Is it 7? I don't know. It's a smaller process. In fact, it's a smaller process than what Intel's using on their chips, right? You know what? There's this indicator, and John was saying, oh, there's a problem with it.
RZH says morning.
And I was like, not sure. But he is definitely right. There's definitely a problem.
Lucas says yes, smaller and with a different printing technology.
I don't know what is causing it, but there's a problem with it. We're not negative on the day yet. We have to get all the way down to the bottom of this overnight session. Man. I'm so pissed. That was 10 points that I could have made, but they decided to wait till the open, and then I have to close it on the open. I could have just sold on the open.
And Mnuchin are going to speak shortly on the sanctions on Iran. Your market may pause or weep.
Yeah, when was that supposed to be? 10:45 Eastern time. Well, that's not for an hour. And I don't know if the markets will necessarily react to that or not. I mean, we already know that there's going to be sanctions on Iran. And I don't think the market is significantly impacted by that. Kudlow, translation of China deal has been authenticated.
Says buy Huawei router Ace.
Buy a Huawei router? Oh yeah, so what were you saying about a router that you needed a new one? Yeah, I have the new series of gaming router from Linksys. It's like a RX 500 or something like that. And it is awesome. It is flippin' awesome. Holy crap, let me show you this thing, man.
Gary Rich says, nah, that's not news moving event. Iran is just sad.
No, that's weird. Okay, so there was a turn in the E-mini.
Ace Trade says I.
Yeah. Why is it doing this? I guess I'm having a problem with it.
Winstanza Mom says oh. Ace Trade says I've just got whatever they handed me at the cable company. Lucas says I have the feeling I will regret not being long at 310.
Huh. I have a feeling I'll regret not being long at 310. Oh, I don't know about that. Look, we're getting some aberrations here again.
Uzi Knesset says I'd buy a Huawei router but I'm indecisive on whether or not I want to funnel all my data to the CCP. Thinking face.
It's telling me that the interface is not loaded yet, and that will redirect me. So I don't know. I wish I could show you. The interface for the router is so cool, and it shows you stats and everything, and I've never had any problems with it. It just works, and it can handle the
Winstanza
traffic.
Mom says good morning, RZH, how is this new year treating you? Gary Rich says at Uzi I was thinking the same, lol.
Yeah. There's a whole thing with Chinese components, and I'm saying that China is putting spying stuff into all the Huawei equipment. And I'm like, if they knew that that was the case, then why aren't they just, completely? But I mean, they did ban them, but they were using it as leverage in the trade deal. It just didn't make any sense to me. It's like, if that's what they're really doing, then that's just, you wouldn't even use that as leverage, right? So maybe they were lying. I don't know. Or maybe they just suspect, but they haven't actually proven that that's what it's doing. I don't know. Okay, well, here's your pullback. Curious to me that in the E-mini, these changes, if I'm only looking at only bids or only
RZH
offers.
says it's been good so far win.
So these are bids and these are offers. A lot of offers pulled off there on that uptick right there.
RZH says beaming face with smiling eyes. Gary Rich says no, Seth Huawei is the real spy deal, it's been known for a long time. Uzi Knesset says I mean, if I were an all-seeing, all-encompassing, massive government seeking total control, that's what I'd do. Don't get me wrong, I wouldn't buy a router from USA government routers either lol.
Well, I mean, that's the thing is I'm pretty sure that if the U.S. government wants to monitor your internet traffic, that they can do it. Pretty sure.
Winstanza Mom says good. This is an exciting new decade. I remember reading about the Roaring Twenties and thinking what our 20s might be like. I should have been more careful. Shades of 1929 lol.
You'd probably have to do some extra crazy stuff to prevent them from being able to read your traffic. Like Tor.
Uzi Knesset says oh I bet there's some off-brand router out there that's super cheap and filled with US government spy tech lol.
Okay. So they had a pullback. There's an inside bar. They're breaking the inside bar. That's a potential signal for me.
Winstanza Mom says are you familiar with the NSA speculator Seth? That is what you already experience on the internet and have since as long as the web has been around.
Yeah.
They flag words that could be dangerous. Uzi Knesset says that's like the Facebook portal. Wouldn't cap me dead with one of those fuckers in my house lol.
It's traders are always the most paranoid people, I think, Well, I don't think we're always paranoid, guys. They're still selling
Gary
it.
Rich says let's buy poodle skirts, sit at the soda fountain, do wop dancing.
So this right here is where the day goes negative. So that's why there's some bouncing around here. If they get back above this 3278, then I can take that long. Mm-mm. I could take
RCH
it
says
long
like what
before
are you
that.
doing and surfing with your internet? Beaming face with smiling eyes.
Okay. That's tough. They're trying to bid it up, but it's not
Winstanza Mom
taking.
says Wanda Sykes worked for the NSA at the same time I had an assignment there but I was moved instead to air defense, with a telegram. Very inconvenient but very military. Uzi Knesset says personally, I don't think it requires an extensive background in trading to distrust governments but maybe that's just me person shrugging.
No. But I'm just saying that traders tend to care more about that stuff than normal people do. I've never met a trader that wasn't paranoid.
Winstanza Mom says poodle skirts, soda fountains, doo-wop dancing and Ricky Nelson, please. We do live in 50s here on the Cumberland and even have soda fountains.
Okay.
Gary Rich says a real good docu, a good American, it will open your eyes.
Where is that on a streaming service somewhere? This is a hammer.
Winstanza Mom says Bill Binney, the former technical director of the NSA, discusses the agency's decision not to use a cheap surveillance tool that would have predicted the attacks on September 11, 2001. Gary Rich says it might still be on Netflix but you can find it on .net. Winstanza Mom says
Fighting.
thanks, Gary I had forgotten about this film and haven't seen it yet.
Come on. Buy that. Push, yes. Okay. It's very good. Okay, so question. How far can we go? Well, there's the hourly open above us. There's one spot. There's
RCH says
3280.
Uzi and Ace are too smart guy they really smart with trading stuff I know from way they write.
Yeah.
Winstanza Mom says The Ugly American is also a pretty darn good movie and rather prescient in this day in history.
Yeah, I think that both those two in particular, and I have to say, I mean, all of you guys stand out to me in different ways. So don't say just because I'm not talking about you at the moment that we don't love you, because we do. But I would say that Uzi and Ace in particular are pretty funny, pretty funny guys, and you can tell their intelligence by the way that they write and the things that they make fun of. So when they started showing me their
Eric
trades
Aegis
and
says,
stuff,
hello,
it was
what
no
is up my
surprise
set
to
stand
me.
fam?
This F stand. Earlier, somebody called us ticktards. I thought that one was pretty funny. But you missed it. I decided that we're gonna put naming that on hold for a while. We need to name my
Uzi
firstborn child
Knesset says
first.
Seth stands. Winstanza Mom says yes, I agree. Wicked smart young men in their brave internet machines.
Come on, almost. I don't want to do 80. That's funny. This is like happens to me a lot for some reason. When I'm getting a really good winner, they will like come up barely short.
Ace Trade says at Winstanza Mom lol on your use of the word young. My catheter
Young.
is your age. Uzi Knesset says ZP looks like she wants to rotate back down. She threatening thinking face.
She is threatening, yeah. I don't know. Okay. Am I going to get filled here?
Air Cages says what did I miss?
Oh.
Gary Rich says we need more women here. I'm looking for a wife. I thought this channel was a dating site.
Gary.
Winstanza Mom says speculator Seth look to the archetypes when you name your son. His name should not be his destiny but his name should invoke a good archetype. Catheter. Lol.
Well,
Uzi Knesset says booze and blow-ins. Ace Trade says at Air Cages I made 2 horrible calls and I'm done for the day.
That weren't terrible calls. That was, you know what, Ace? It was like everything was in line, but it's the problem that always happens,
Gary Rich
man.
that explains why you are always going long.
You know, there's this article. So you guys should read this. Let me go find it. It was on Jigsaw. Let me show you this. Posted it yesterday. Was it this one? Oh, here it is. I'll give you guys the link here, okay? This was Trading 2020, the plan and the perils. And he was saying that, I want to hear the article talk aloud. So I won't read the whole thing, but he was going through and he was talking about, because this year he started doing some mentoring to some extent. So what he said is, okay, you know what? If you've been trading for a while and you're still having difficulty becoming profitable, then this mentorship would maybe be a good thing for you. And so, and it was pretty, you get pretty good one-on-one interaction with him. And so he's spent the year, he knows a lot more about what kind of issues that retail traders are dealing with, even more so than me. And it was interesting to read the things that he said that people are dealing with. Okay. It seems the biggest issue that we dealt with was going off plan. I don't mean the odd 1 or 2 trades. I mean completely off the rails for a day. If you can be consistent for 5 days without trying random trades because you think you are missing out on some big home run, then it doesn't really matter how good your trading method is the rest of the time. So my message to those of you struggling is to start seeing if you can follow your own plan regardless of how good or bad you think it is. Don't implement a new plan, just see if you can follow any plan. So that was his first thing. And then the next one was, so what were the other issues? The single market trader is not going to fare as well as those that follow techniques across multiple markets. With this news addicted mode we are in, the markets tend to slow down there's an absence of news. When there's an absence of news, 5 years ago, you'd have a predictable volatility based on time of year and the economic announcements. That's not really the case at the moment. Okay, we've definitely dealt with that, right? And then boredom. Boredom seems to be a big factor in 2019. Not every day was tradable, but many people traded every day anyways. So what happened there Ace. He had an amazing entry, an amazing setup, and I saw it too. But the market saw no reason to move. There was no reason for them to trade it at that time. And so they didn't do anything. Frustrating, right? But that's the way that it goes. So I think that, yeah, it was a mistake trade, but it's like the easiest mistake to make, right? Oh, yeah. And then he said, if you're trading sim, you should move over to micro because a lot of you guys are getting to the point where you don't really gain any benefits from sim trading because of the mental game. So, yeah, it was a good article. You should read it. But I think that's what happened to us. It was a really great setup. I'm disappointed by it. Let's read all this stuff.
Winstanza Mom says, Gary Rich, would you like me to introduce you to Countess One? She will certainly entertain or introduce you to interesting women. Come hang out sometime with us over on host Eric's channel. Ace Trades says, I've got to step away, but want to hear the article. Talk loud. Winstanza Mom says, Ace Trades done
loud.
for the day. My mother says you are finished, not done. Bread is done.
Yeah, there
People
you go.
finish. See, this explains so much about me. Lol. Winstanza Mom says Countess has a boyfriend, so I am not offering herself up, but she is a lovely intelligent lady who lives in Singapore and flies into California often. Or NY. Ace Trades says at Winstanza Mom, okay, I'm not done, I'm finished for the day, but really, I'll come back and make another trade and make up my loss. Lol. Winstanza Mom says, remember the full moon. I fully expect you to howl and finish up furry and strong.
Wait, were you implying that we might be able to import him a wife? Is that what we were talking about there? I'm just kidding. I'm just messing with you. I could still take another trade. I'm a little unsure about this area though, so I'm gonna let them work it out and wait to see if I get some sort of a more clear signal of sorts to do something.
Uzi Knesset says buy wife for $11.99 on internet. Yay.
A lot of offers pulled off there. So you can see when it goes that the number of offers decreases. So that's interesting. I think I'm more interested though in if there's a significant increase in resting orders. So, by the way, guys, lots of people watching today. If you haven't hit that
Gary
like
Rich
button, go
says,
ahead and hit that like
11.99,
button.
that's too expensive. Winstanza Mom says over on my homeroom channel, Hysterics, there are quite a few international single people either working or in university. They meet each other online and establish friendships. Uzi Knesset says, grinning squinting face.
I have a really, really good friend that lives in Malaysia. And I met her when I was single and I was on the Facebook groups. And, she was traveling the Facebook groups and she was pretty unabashedly looking for an American because she wants to live in Utah. She was LDS. She wanted to move to Utah because there wasn't any LDS people where she lived. And it was kind of hard because she really wants to come over and she's developing good skills. She's becoming a dental hygienist and everything. But there's no way for her to come over. I always think about her when the immigration debate thing comes on because it makes me so mad that she can't come over, but all of these other people skip ahead in line and are able to come in the United States.
Gary Rich says,
I'm not
going to
read that one,
woman.
Eric.
Other than trading or investing, I am a tard.
You know what, Gary Rich? I'm with you on that one. My wife is usually pretty organized and knows what's going on, and if there are some things that I just forget about. I really truly have to fully commit my mind to doing something.
Winstanza Mom says I can understand that. Why not find like-minded people and live in their community? In the military, women look for husbands and often make very good wives. War brides or dancers, same idea. Gary Rich says at air laughing so hard.
Hit ignore error cages and just hit that like button. Hmm. Well, I kind of am interested in buying it still, but I don't think that this location it necessarily makes sense, and I'm not really seeing. Oh, okay. Actually, I take that back. There was a couple of orders there in the 10-year, but you notice the 10-year they came up. They're a little bit higher than the news price, and now they're incredibly balanced around 129. So I'm not so sure that that gives us a really good setup in the E-mini. And the E-mini could totally turn down. Yeah, I don't know if that really makes sense though. Like, um, not that it doesn't make sense that it would turn down, but that trying a trade against that trend really makes sense. So I probably should just kind of hold tight for now.
Air Cages says I noticed you're really getting a lot of live stream viewers compared to larger channels.
Yeah. I mean, I'll tell you what, there are some channels out there. You know what I think the real secret is? And I can't do this, but I think the real secret is just streaming all the time. Because there are some channels that I don't even think the person is there all of the time. But there are some channels that are literally stream all day and nobody's talking, it's just showing a chart. And there will be hundreds of people watching it. I don't understand this. But I see that every day.
Winstanza Mom says, what should we have for dinner? I am hungry, and when I am hungry, I think food. What's for dinner tonight? Any ideas? Himself cooks for us, so if I order before he awakens, give me ideas, guys.
I don't know. I thought that you would always just make potatoes. But no, we were talking about this the other day, right? I think that one thing that we do in this YouTube channel that is unique or is an attitude that we take towards markets that I don't see other people doing is that we taking it from the perspective of that trading is always difficult and is always changing, and it is a constant struggle to make money. And it's not a situation where you figure one thing out and then forever you're going to be profitable. It's not like that, because the market's always changing and always trying to take away your edge and things like that. And I think that so many people come into trading with this thought that I just spend enough time and then I figure the thing that my strategy out, and then I just do that forever and I'll be profitable. And what they very quickly find is that they can never seem to find the thing. You'll start using it for a little while and then it'll stop working. And so these people give up. A lot of people give up within the first month. 80% of people will give up within 3 years. And because we don't do that, we have a much higher percentage of people that have been in the market for a long time, right? Because you guys that are in here and are profitable traders. I know there's a few of you, and I know that some of you, you're probably a lot like me. Sometimes you're profitable and sometimes you're not. But you've been trading for years, and we have a lot more experienced traders here in this room because of that. And so then we also get this thing where, because we have a high number of really long-term engaged traders, you guys show up every day. You show up every day. And so we have a consistent number of viewers every day. And I really appreciate that, because I really don't think that there's anything special about me, or I'm not like an amazing trader. I make absolutely no claims about performance. I'm just dumb enough to stream absolutely everything. Show my face, show my entry. I see some people, they stream it, but you can't actually see their order entry, They just show you a window with what their profit and loss is for the day, and they're not showing their entries. That's the only thing special about me. It's really you guys, and you guys are just so amazing. Let's see here.
Winstanza Mom says the other day I watched someone clean their room because they were talking fun stuff in the chat. Gary Rich says I'm torn between joining Vinny channel or stay here. ROFL with your beef with him. Lol. Jerry is awake says not pizza again. Vincenzo C says I'm seeing a spy by. Hypothetically, of course. No recommendation.
Jerry, you know what, Vincenzo, I see it.
Uzi Knesset says a trading strategy is a method of managing risk. Problem is people think a trading strategy is a way to pick winning trades.
Hey, so Vincenzo, I think that the long makes a lot of sense. This move down to me looks a little bit like seller exhaustion. And then we come back to it. The problem that I see is the news for the day was negative, but the trend is positive. So if there is upside, I'm a little skeptical about how much upside there is. That's why, because I wanted to go long. I remember when we were back here and I was like, well, maybe a short doesn't make sense. But I don't think that a long makes sense for me here. Oh, there's something going on here, though. That was an overextension. They might turn down a little bit again.
Winstanza Mom says people are choosing channels based on the host, the engagement in the chat room, and the fact that they know what times you are open really helps. They grab onto titles and thumbnails first.
We'll see about that.
Air Cages says Seth will hit 100 consistent live viewers by the end of 2020.
I tell you, if we had 100 consistent live viewers, that would be insane. That would be insane. But that would be almost 3 or 4 times what we usually have. You know, right now we got 33. That's kind of the higher end of what we've had. I think that there was one day back in October that we were like at 40, right?
Jerry is awake says a good trading strategy is not picking bottom or tops. Wait for the market to tell you.
I'm just noticing that this is new, so I should really be studying it more than anything. But when I saw this one over here using that in the 10-year, that was amazing. I really think that this might be helping me filter out some of the noise and catch better spots. Oh yeah, totally.
Uzi Knesset says engaging chat is a big thing. Streamers who don't engage the chat are boring.
Yeah, totally.
Winstanza Mom says Frank James was live streaming himself the other day while he played video games. He had 460 viewers when I tuned in.
Oh yeah.
Harlequin says man s climbing and gold just does not want to drop.
Well, and I mean, that's the thing. We're trading futures for starters, and I mean the people that trade futures, significantly less compared to the overall market of people that are invested in or interested in capital markets. But then on top of that, we trade the treasury market and we trade early in the morning. So we're kind of at a time where a lot of people just don't catch us. That's why I was like, if I streamed all day, probably it would help the channel grow a lot. There's a lot of other things that I've been doing with the videos about the format of things and everything else like that has really, really helped. The thing that's surprising to me, I mean, I don't necessarily ever expect to have a huge, like 500 people watching you at a time. Oh man, that would be really insane. Just because of how niche what we do is, having 500 people watching would be truly insane. All right. And I'm not sure if that's ever realistic, but the thing that impresses me is how many people watch these videos on replay. We're getting 150 to 200 views a day now.
Says, did you see the reports that at Mar-a-Lago, Trump was roaming the halls hinting something big was happening, and then on Monday, the stocks went a bit nuts around that hint?
Oh, I didn't see that one. But you know what? The market has this has been a real wild week, hasn't it? It's been a real wild week. Man, you know what? So we need to look at something.
Mom says maybe I should spend some time observing Trump and then report back to Yoyu.
Gary
Rich says, Seth, do you put trades on at work? Are you tempted to look and put one on?
You know what?
Air Cages says imagine telling 500 people to buy Garlicoin at the same time.
Every once in a while when I'm here when I work from home, I will get I'll take a trade because like news happened and I'm afraid of missing it. It was like what Peter Davies was talking about. It's like, oh, the market's moving. I don't want to miss the market's moving. I'm totally prone to that, right? But I remember one time very, very early on, I was sim trading and I was at work, and that was back when the firewall was open and I could even get data at work. And I was trading, I think I was trading ZB, and I went negative 2,000 or something on sim. And at that moment, I realized, I was like, you know what? One, later in the day is not very good trading for treasuries. And two, when I'm trading that long, I lose my mind. So I am very, very careful. I maybe would take a trade between 10:30 and 11:30 because there's still the European close, and I've gotten some good trades around that time. But after that, there has to be a really, really good reason for me to trade, or I will do dumb things. I do. Okay, so I wanted to look over the whole week here. Okay, I wanted to look over the whole week and sort this. Let's best fit all columns. Okay. So how many? Oh, wow. Wait, what? No, that can't be right. Oh, okay. It doesn't sort it correctly. You gotta fix that one. I thought that they fixed that one in Jigsaw, but I guess not. So now I'm gonna have to count it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. 14 that didn't get 10 favorable ticks. So I'm just gonna 14. And how many did I take overall? Can I 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 27. 27. So half. Interesting. Well, very interesting. So I would have 50%. I would have 50%. Okay. What about if it was 16? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 at 16. And how many at 12? 1, 2. Okay. Curious. So if it was 16, where's my calculator? Wait, what? Hold on a second. That's not right. Oh, did I say that it had to be more than 10? There's 27 total ones. No, I want it to be MFE more than 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 14, 15. 15. Oh, I said 16, not 7. That's where I screwed up. Where did I close that calculator? Hold on a second. Like I'm totally like in my own head for a second. 7 divided by 27, that's going to be like 30, right? Oh, 25. 25. 25%. That doesn't work. No, because if it's 2 to 1, you have to get 30%, right? So I can't do 2 to 1. Almost all of these that are MAE, they just go. 6, 4, 4. Now, the good news is that I'm noticing, okay, that one unfavorable one went 7. But in general, when I get a good one going, I can go 4. No. That's cool that overall I made 38.50 this week. Is that correct? It is. Hey, we're pretty good, but we lost some on commissions, right? Because this is 27, so it's barely profitable after the commissions. Oh, that sucks. That sucks. But when you look at these ones, some of these ones that were like big winners, huh? Okay, well, now I'm going to read what you guys are doing.
Winstanzamom says maybe I should spend some time observing Trump and then report back to Yoyu. Air Cages says imagine telling 500 people to buy Garlicoin at the same time. Winstanzamom says watch out for the magical effect of the number 11. This is an angelic message telling you to be aware your surroundings, or so the numerology goes. Gary Rich says Dems not good odds. Winstanzamom says what if instead of adding up all of those numbers, you simply applied earth, air, wind, fire elements and you would know odd numbers and even numbers are elements, so if you know which element heats up.
Well, the thing that I'm trying to figure out is if the profit targets are killing me. And it seems to me that there could be some improvement in that, but that it's probably not the biggest issue. I think that I probably need to focus and nail down my signal a little bit better, because I think that there was a couple of trades that I took in there that were a little bit too FOMO. And if I clean that up, then I could get a little bit better with a win percentage. And if I'm going for 10, I'm close to 50%. So I could do 1 to 1 and I could get 55% and try and let runners run, or, multiple lots, and use a similar exit strategy to what Ace does. So we could work things out.
Ace Trade says at Winstanzamom, nope, that isn't how the universe works.
But we would have made a lot more money if I had, taken care of taking the profits at 10. But I don't think that's, because if I always took them at 10, then I would lose those runners, and so the math still doesn't come out that's not the solution. So we can work on that, but it's not the biggest issue. Probably the biggest issue is the FOMO trades. That one that I was saying we were maybe a little overdone. It did turn down, but when I look at the histogram, I can't even see that spot anymore. So, yeah, I don't think that was necessarily an amazing trade that I missed or anything. In fact, it was only worth 10 points, 10 ticks. What else was I going to say? Oh, yeah, the numbers thing. I tell you what, another thing is as subscribers is like, there was some weeks that we had like hundreds of subscribers add. And I don't do a ton of advertising or anything, but whenever one of you guys mentioned me in a Reddit thread or on another channel or things like that, it's
says
insane.
Which universe, which dimension, which time ace, lol. So the idea behind the psychology of the trader might be to pick a method, a pattern, and stick to it because each trade is a random throw of dice?
Well, yes.
Winstanzamom says quantum theory. This is simple quantum theory.
I mean, the thing is if you have a signal...
Gary Rich says I'm so confused with your strategy or explanation.
Yeah, you know what? I've been intentionally vague about what my strategy is, though, Gary. I'm sorry. Part of it is that I don't know if it's going to work, So part of it is that I'm hesitant to be saying too much because I'm worried that people might try and follow it. And then if it doesn't work out, blame me.
Ace Trade says at Winstanzamom this universe, the only one we have to observe is real, and yes, the market is random.
So I'm testing things. But what I was saying there was, how would things be different if I always took 8 ticks when I got it? And the answer is that my win rate is not quite good enough for
Ace Trade says, but I
can't do 1-to-1 risk reward, rather. But if I do what I'm doing, like always take 20.
Ace Trade says, but I'm not really here. I'm actually looking for a toy.
Or sorry, if I always take 16 ticks, that's close to working. But even then, probably I need a slightly better probability.
Ace Trade says no toy, no getting on bus. Winstanzamom says in this universe, I have found that slow and steady wins this game. What about you, Ace? Based on your trading history, you play smart.
Well, you can definitely do it on statistics. If it's like you're taking 2-to-1 risk reward and you're winning about 50% of the time, that's good. You're going to make money. Okay. But the issue is are you actually going to win 50% of the time? Like if you go and you put in your stop at 10 ticks and your profit at 20 ticks, what you're going to find is that a lot of the time you'll get a little bit of favorable ticks and then it doesn't go.
Ace. Winstanzamom says no. Lol. Ace Trades is a toy, a stuffed animal, or an iPad?
Hey, Algo Lover, I did pretty good today. I actually had 2 16-tick trades on the E-mini.
Ace Trades says at Winstanzamom, if I was smart, I'd be selling trading education.
But this one, I didn't take the profit on it, and it came back and was a loser. I really should have maybe taken
Ace Trades says at Winstanzamom, actual real toy, to be sneaked on the bus.
I am kind of seriously considering to always be taking 16 ticks.
Algo Lover says thumbs up, nice.
I don't know. Because the average range in the treasure in the E-mini is 12 to 16. So I'm really looking for a big move when I'm looking for more than 16. And it seems to me that the edges that I'm looking at here are not necessarily good for more than a swing. You don't know if it's going to go for more than that.
Winstanzamom says yes, and if I was smart, I would sell tarot card readings. There is serious money on YouTube in the psychic channels. But that is not my thing, yet. I do want a blue Ford Mustang Sally, tempting.
I don't know. I feel like my
Gary
read
Rich
on the market
says,
is getting a lot better.
Do you know how hard it is to scalp with 50% winners? You will get chewed up in commish and fees.
Yeah. Well, are you saying that you really want more than 50% winners? I don't know. That one really depends on what your average winner is, right? In E-mini, if you're making
Gary Rich
$10,
says yes.
If you're making $10 on your average winner, the commissions aren't going to be significant if you're winning 50%. If you're doing that and your average winner is 2 ticks and your average winner is 250, then it's a problem, right? And there are some people trying to do that, and you're never going to make money that way. I don't understand how anybody looks at the statistics of a strategy like that and thinks that there's edge in it. It's not. It's like intentionally designed to trick you into believing that it works. Because you'll win a lot, but then when you start losing, you just get chewed up and you'll spend so much in commissions that the amount that you make is not really much to speak of. Yeah. Sucks. But if you're making 8 ticks in the E-mini, then, you're almost 10 times what your commission is. It's insignificant.
Algo Lover says S bullish above 72.50. If they bid above ETH high, then 3,289 target still valid, nerd face. Gary Rich says at 2-to-1 it's very hard. You have to let the winners run. You have to hold for longer periods of time.
Yes. At 2-to-1 it's hard. Well, and it's not necessarily even 2-to-1. It's it's the range of the instrument, right?
Winstanza Mom says McDill had a lockdown just lifted. That base is so beautiful. I had such an interesting assignment there. It's a very important base, so this is good news.
So let's say that my stop was 4 ticks and my winner was 10 ticks, and I was getting that 50% of the time. Okay, so it's a smaller amount, so the commissions would matter more, but that would still be a really effective setup, I think. But the problem is that the average range in the E-mini is 12. So to be able to take a trade and only have a 4-tick stop, now Ace does that, and it works well, so it's not like it's impossible. But I'm just saying, it's really hard to get a high probability with such a tight stop, and I certainly wouldn't hit that. When you look at mine, I would stop out on probably 70% of the trades and -4. But then I'm looking for 2-to-1, but I'm also looking for 16 ticks. That's a little bit more than the average range of the instrument. So that means that not only are you asking for a lot, but you have to have an impulse that is more than the average turn in the E-mini to make money. So to have a really good percentage on 50% percentage on that is really hard as well. I think it's possible. I actually think that with what we're trading, it might be doable. But man, yeah, I'll go lover. If you 4-tick stopping, yes, you better have excellent entries. Yeah. So I think that I want to do 8-tick stop, and I want to make 8 to 16 ticks profit. And I want to be able to let it run beyond 16 if it's doing that. So how do I do that? I think that I need to understand the movement a little bit better. And I need to have a much more clear exit signal other than I'm uncomfortable with how much it's come back on me. If the range is 12, be conservative and expect only 6 or 4. That's realize expectations, not assumed you're going to get the full 12. Yeah. Well, yeah. Well, and I'm trying to take it on the fly. Like I haven't been just putting the limit orders out there, have I? So we can work it out. I think though that this kind of analysis, I need to have a little bit better data. Like 27 trades in a week, and a lot of those were really FOMO-y, man. But we keep going through the month and we get consistent at the way that I want to take it. And then we can start to look at those and we can see if there's some edge in how much we want to take from it or not. I suspect that there is some. But it's going to take really good entries and a really good exit strategy. It's going to be hard. And it's absolutely, the big thing is it's going to have to allow for runners, because the runners is what's going to allow this thing to work well. So I can't always just take 8. That won't work. Now on the treasury side, I didn't take any trades in the treasury. But my read in the treasury seems really good lately, don't you think? I mean, I didn't take any trades in there, so we can't say that I did amazing, but I totally saw that they were going to stop people out there. And then, hey, they rebalanced. There was a good signal right there. I like what I see on that. The E-mini is not as clear, and I have them split out between buys and sells. And in the E-mini, it's mostly negative. This one, I don't have it split out like that. So I'm wondering if I will see. I probably need to have 3. I need to have only bids, only sells, and everything. And I need to keep this one up still, too. It's weird. And these are interesting too. Like that, those things right there, those are things where I think that we'd be in a range, and I think that, oh, maybe they're going to try and break it out of the range, and then nothing happens. Now that I've seen those, maybe that is a good counter signal to stay out. Did Bitcoin bounce? Ooh. They actually came down a lot lower than I thought, because 8,000 was where they were at yesterday. I don't know. I don't read that as too, it can, let me show you guys. I don't necessarily read that as too confidence inspiring. I'm looking at the meanings of name, Seth. What character strength or superpower would you like your son to possess? I don't know. We were saying that we wanted him to have an alpha name. My brother was like, you should name him Chad. Of course, I wouldn't name my child Chad, but I kind of like that thought. And there's this thing like, you know how parents, especially with the firstborn child, tend to dump all of their hopes and aspirations onto their kid? Well, this kid's in an interesting situation because this is my wife's fourth child, but this is my first. And I know that I'm going to do that. Like, even though it's not necessarily a healthy thing, I know that it's like, I'm probably going to get a lot of my hopes and aspirations dumped onto that kid. And he's probably going to get a lot more attention than a kid normally would have. And so I'm going to be careful about that sort of a thing. Because you put too much expectations on people, that can really mess with their development, you know? For those unfamiliar with why market makers are nothing short of money printers, look no further than Virtue, which, as we reported in 2015, had lost money on just one trading day in 16 years. Wow. Oh, what was Algo Lover saying? If you bought the gap fill 75.50, you'd be in a 5-point winner, 8 at the recent high of this bounce. Yeah. So I don't know if you saw it when I had it up, Algo Lover, but I was looking at all of the trades that I took live during the week, and you can see that I have, like, when you come down to the bottom, I have a ton that gets stopped out. But when you look at okay, and the ones that actually worked really well, in fact, too. Let's sort it by oh man. How do you do it? I don't know what the best way to try and sort it is so that it doesn't look so awful, but anyways, oh yeah, MAE is the best way to do it. Okay. So when you look at all of these ones that stopped out, look, there was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 trades that I could have taken 8 ticks or more on. So that's literally, if you say that's a $20 difference on all of those, that's almost $100 that I lost because I held too long. So I don't know how to deal with that. I know how to let them run, but it seems like most of the time it doesn't go more than 12. So how do I do that? How do I know which ones I need to take off, and how do I know which ones I need to let run with only using one contract, you know? Name him Ace. You guys have this secretive hidden gala for each other. It has to be multiple syllables. When my daughter tested the genius level, we did not tell her this. Now with personality typing, I see kids think their personality type is their destiny. A name is important. An alpha name is a lion-like name, perhaps a Daniel or a Richard. I don't think that she would go for Richard. Then you can spend some time in review, port entry, or type stop, or both. Yeah. Well, I think, so the other thing, Algo Lover, when you turn back around, these ones right here, all of these ones, in fact. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So roughly, well, maybe not because they're not all -10, but there's probably $30 in there that were FOMO trades, you know? And probably a lot of these ones that did go 8 ticks might have been FOMO trades too. So that's why I was saying I think that we need to trade this a little bit longer. I'm breaking even. I'm more than break even, right? Overall, I made money. It's not quite. It's actually closer to break even after you take the commissions out. So I think that we can just continue trading it like this and hopefully refine the entry and the exit and everything a little bit more, and then maybe look at the stats. You know, so there's a lot. There's tons of these ones, like the one today. This one. This was a great trade. I could have taken profits on it. I didn't take the short at the open, but I wanted to. You know, that one was just kind of an unfortunate thing. Like, there are some good trades in here, so I think that we need to collect more data before we read too much into it.
Winstanza Mom says with ferrets, they tell us their names. Often we name them first, only to find ourselves calling them something entirely different.
That's funny.
It's odd, but this happens often enough to note the pattern. Winstanza Mom says Simba. Your son could be the son of a Lion King. The hero's
Simba.
journey. Lol, nature style, not Disney style, but Disney's Simba is so darn cute. I still have not seen the movie, but Jordan Peterson has.
I tell you,
Gary Rich says name him 0. Set the bar
0.
really, really low, nothing but upside potential. Winstanza Mom says Gary Rich, instead of 0, how about Zorro? He got the girl and she looked like Catherine Zeta-Jones.
Right. Yeah, she was good. I don't know. The thing is I'm noticing that my wife really doesn't like unusual names. She likes names that are kind of standard but have the new agey spelling, which I hate. I'm like, please do not give her a millennial, the name that all the millennials are giving their kids with weird spellings and all this stuff. Why do I keep saying her? I'm saying her, meaning my wife, but please don't give him one of those, millennial names. Like, they're so awful. I can't stand it. I would like a name that is a traditional name, but is not common and sounds cool in alpha. That's kind of what I want. It has to be multiple syllables.
Winstanza Mom says we had the same issue. I wanted creative, interesting, and full of meaning. He wanted simple masculine names.
I don't know if she cares about the meaning. That's one of the weird things. So, one of the names that she proposed was Asher. And I was like, oh, okay, that's an okay name. Well, she was mad that I liked the name Asher because she really wants to use the name Archie. And I have been dead set against Archie. And she's like, what's wrong with Asher? It's almost the same name. I'm like, no, but the reason that Archie is a problem is because Archie is like the name of a financial criminal. Like Archibald. That's like some snobby guy that was born into money and failed in his life and then tried to cheat everybody out of his money. That's an Archibald. No, she does
Mom
not.
Says Archie. Does she watch Riverdale?
She said she tried watching a few episodes of it and didn't get into it because YouTube has been recommending me things about Riverdale for some reason. Like, why is Riverdale so bad? The Archie comics.
Winstanza Mom says, what about a gamma male name?
There
we
you
the thinkers,
go. A
rationals,
gamma
gammas
male
stand
name.
apart as they architect or strategize. They do not go forth to do battle. They plan.
Okay, so Algoliver's saying, if you entered here, yeah, it's a little bit beyond the time for me to take a trade, but let's look at what you're saying. 3280-ish. Sure. So if we entered at 3280-ish with a stop at 78, yeah, 8 tick stop, and target 85-ish. Oh, okay. So you're talking more than 16 ticks. Wow. And Algo Lover, what do you think if I just straight up put the stops on there? What do you think the probability that it touches 85? Do you think that that's around a 50% or higher?
Gary Rich says, Seth, your wife
No.
really wants your son to get beat up and bullied.
I think Archie is a terrible name, yeah. But she's the one that's like, she thinks that I'm the, because I recommended Mariner. She's like, that's an awful name. Your child will be bullied if you name him Mariner. Maybe she's right. Maybe she's right about that one. But there wouldn't be anybody else named Mariner, and it is a Utah name. It's the name of a famous Utahn who was chairman of the Federal Reserve. Okay, so I think it's a legit name.
Winstanza Mom says, Seth, when is your son due? What will his sun's sign be? I can look to his astrology chart to see where his strengths will be influenced by his planets. I am learning astrology to understand Jung.
Yeah, she likes it.
Winstanza Mom says, Mariner, I really like that name, but your Mrs. Speculator Seth has made her opinion known.
She doesn't like it. Yeah, I like it a lot, actually. Yeah, Algo Lover, if it moves above 83-ish, then move your stop to break even +1 and let the trade play out. Yeah. You know what? That's what I've been trying to do. I don't know. Maybe we just need better data, dude. I feel like though that too many of my entries have gone 8 to 12 and then come back all the way. And I think that has more to do with the entry than it does my profit target. You know what I mean? I'm catching like a really small impulse that I'm seeing, and I'm not taking the bigger trade area, you know? Like when I think about that trade and you say 85 and I'm seeing that, I'm like, okay, yeah, anything above 32, 82, 25 will probably cause some stops, and that could propel them up to 32, 85. That all totally makes sense. But some of these trades that I took, I thought that there was a setup like that, and it just wasn't. And I think that that's happening too often. So I think that better trade selection will make a difference. What about Maximilian? I think that was suggested at one point. Okay, hold on a second. Let me write my cryptocurrency notes, and I'll show you my list. 2020/01/10. Giovanni. That was recommended too. I don't think I wanted to tell you. Friday. Okay. I like it because it sounds like John. Yes.
Winstanza Mom says,
Yes.
Do you have a middle name in mind? The initials could or should spell something fun. I like initials that spell out Sam. I think Sam is such a good name. I crushed on Bogey as Sam in Casablanca.
The name has to be that the middle name has to be J. That's non-negotiable. Here it is. Here are the names. So the names that I have on the list right now, I have this rejected list to keep track of. So like Eugene was like, you know, she's like, you're gonna get bullied with that name. And I think so. I really liked Lawrence. I thought Lawrence was a great name. I think Lawrence of Arabia, he's pretty alpha, right? But she didn't like it. Anyways, so we got Asher, Alexander, Weston, Aiden, Grayson, Rustin, Kenneth, Bryson, Zachary, Charles, and Carter. For some reason, she likes names that end in on, which makes no sense to me. But whatever. Aiden is one of those ones that I'm like, that to me is like a millennial name. Grayson, that is a millennial name. You know what I mean? He's going to be born mid-February, by the way. Maximus. Oh, I need to close this down because the API limit was exceeded. Okay. I'll add that on there, Maximus. I don't think she'll go for that though. ES kind of failed the. Where is it, by the way? There it is. Okay. It's interesting that they're not getting back above the open, but I am seeing a little bit of activity here. I also see that the cumulative delta equalized out, so there is totally some upside potential in that. Oh man. You know what, Algo Lover? I think your 3280, let's say 3282 because that's where it is, I think might actually be a really amazing trade. In fact, and we're above that thing. Oh yeah, 3282, I could do it. Everything fits. Except for that I've got to go, so. Go with your name, make him a JR. Grace and 50 Shades of Grey, Seth, you are giving away the family secrets telling of her interest in Grey. Greystroke was terrorist. You know what? My ex-wife, oh my gosh. When those books came out, okay, everybody on Facebook is talking about 50 Shades of Grey, right? And I'm sitting there on Facebook and I'm like, you guys realize that these are BDSM fetish books, right? Like, does everybody not realize that that's what it's about and that that's why the girls like it? And are you really okay? Like, because they're all like conservative Mormon people. So I'm like, why would you be reading that? That's that. Okay. So I'm, and I'm not necessarily taking the position that it's bad per se, but just that, it was really surprising to me that so many people were reading it that I knew. Okay. And then my ex-wife, she had read them. Not only had she read them, but she had read the whole series in like 2 or 3 days. She like read through them obsessively. She was not interested in the fetish or anything like that, but she read through it and she liked those books so much. All right. So then I get divorced and I get remarried, and Melissa, she is just absolutely horrified by that book, and anything that is anything even remotely close to like a BDSM fetish or anything like that. It's pretty funny. Jason and the Argonauts. Okay, let's get on the bus. Mine and my neighbor's sidewalk's clear as snow, and I found a 20 in my coat. What did I miss? You found a 20? What will you do with your newfound wealth? Oh, man. You know what's another funny thing is she wants Carter. This is another funny one. She wants to use the name Carter. It's like she really likes Carter for some reason. But my mom had a very close coworker. Oh, something's going on. She had a close coworker named Carter, so there's no way that name's happening. I can understand women reading the books if this was their first experience in porn light, but I grew up reading The Happy Hooker and watching it around Phil Donahue and all. Interesting. Yeah, I hear you. Something happened. What happened? You know what? I'm tempted to take the trade, but well, look, if we had taken the trade at 82, we would have gotten stopped out, Algo Lover. Oh man. I don't know what happened, but you know what? It's 8:50. I think I should leave before we find out. Ooh. Time for me to. What was it that we were saying? When you have to finish. You're not done. We finish things. Yes. Think we are finished with this trading session. Interesting session. We did make $15. Garlic coin, here is your chance, Ace Trades. Make someone in this chat room very happy. Who is it that wants us to go garlic coin? I am so tempted. It's simply funny. Yeah, you know what, Ace? Oh, you went short at 32.80.50. Oh, man. He caught that one. No, not quite. It was a little, he's got a little bit in profit. Yeah, I guess I could name the kid garlic coin. No. Just kidding. But you know what, Ace? If you owned, if you bought $15 worth of garlic coin, you would own almost as much as I do. So that might actually bring the price of garlic coin up. 23 watching now for $15 better be better than losing $15 today. Might be a day to continue watching. Yeah, but I gotta go in. They've been having production issues. I should head in today. Ooh, you can see the increase in level 2 activity too, and all of the bids disappear on the down move. It's a good read. This is what, you know, like the Jigsaw has like the stacking and pulling stuff and all of that. This shows it better, I think. Here's something to consider, and we use family names for our male names, and guess what? She grew up. Yay, just teasing you now. Oh man. That would be funny. That would be really weird because you know, my wife's ex-husband is gay, and the kids have really mixed feelings about that. Okay. I'm just waiting to see here if there's news for it. US had specific information about an imminent threat from Iran, including on US embassies, says Pompeo. Oh, so that must be why they're reacting, is because Pompeo is talking right now. So it might be a reversal. Like maybe take, if I had caught that, maybe I would be taking quick profits on it, depending on what I see here, because the activity level is dying down very quickly, and so I'm not so sure that there's going to be enough sellers to really make this continue on much further. There's a point. I don't know. She was a tiny blonde child with the sweetest face and dirtiest little laugh, and it was funny to see teachers expect a big boy and find this smart little tiny girl. That's funny. Okay. I'm just yapping now. I thought that we had a good session today. Thank you guys very much. If you haven't hit the like button, go ahead and do so. That helps the channel out a lot and brings more people in. So this is great. I'm happy. Happy with the week. So I will see you guys on Monday. It's Friday, man. I'll see you guys on Monday. And in the meantime, stay profitable, friends.